Okay guys, so today we're going to do multiplying matrices, and we have one definition. Okay, so here's your definition. You can only multiply. Now, we've done addition and subtraction. In addition and subtraction, as long as they're exactly the same dimensions, we're fine, right? If it's, you can add a 2 by 2 with a 2 by 2, a 3 by 3 with a 3 by 3. But, and you can also multiply, like for example, if I told you this, right, that's a scalar factor, and I can multiply, that's fine. When you're actually multiplying one matrix by another matrix, okay, there's some rules, and there's this one rule, here it is. You can only multiply two matrices if the number of columns in the first matrix is equal to the number of rows in the second matrix. Write it down and then I'll explain it a little better. Okay, so this is what it means, guys. You can only multiply two matrices if, for example, what if I gave you a matrix A, and we're going to call it a 3 by 2, okay, and I'm going to try to multiply it by matrix B, and it's a 2 by 4. Okay, remember these are, we use the little RC trick, right? So this is RC and RC, like the drink, right? RC Cola. Rose columns, rose columns. And the actual thing for this is that the columns in the first have to be the same as the rows in the second. So these have to be the same, 2 and 2. Are they the same? Yeah. And what happens is when you multiply them, your answer actually, I'm going to put this in, so I multiply matrix A and B together, I actually get a 3 by 4 matrix. The answers that were left over. You see that? So I can only multiply if these match, and yes they do, 2 and 2. And the matrix I get when I'm done is actually a 3 by 4. Okay? So I'm going to give you a few just random ones and tell me if you can multiply them or not. So I'm going to say, okay, P is going to be a 2 by 5. Q is a 5 by 3. R is a 4 by 3, and S is a 4 by 5. So write down those options. 2 by 5, 5 by 3, 4 by 3, and 4 by 5. And I'm going to ask you for a couple of them, and you tell me if it's safe to multiply or not. So let's start with A. I'm going to ask you, can they multiply a P and a Q, P and Q together?
Yes.
Okay, y'all are saying yes. Let's take a look. Here's PQ in order. The 5 matches the 5, so yes. Okay, so the answer to this would be yes, and it would create PQ, and what would the dimensions of the new matrix be? 2 by 3, good. It would be a 2 by 3 matrix. Okay, let's go to B. What if I asked you for an RS? Give it a second. Look at it and see. RS. What do you think? No, and because they're notes, I'm going to write it out. This is a 4 by 3, and S is a 4 by 5. So the 3 and the 4 do not match. So the answer to that is no. Okay, here's another one. QP. Take your time. QP. It has to be in that order. It has to be in that order. A QP, which is the letter C, is not the same as A, PQ. It's different. Order matters here. So what do you think about it? Yes or no?
No.
No, because Q is a 5 by 3 and P is a 2 by 5. So in that order, you have a 3, 2. So the answer to that is no. I'll highlight these so you can see the original problem. Okay, now let's go to the last one like this. Letter D, SR. And S is a 4 by 5, and then R is a 4 by 3. What's the answer to that? Yeah, here is no. All right, so you'll understand when it's allowed, right? You have to actually write the dimensions of both in the order you want to multiply them and look at it. Agree? Okay, so let's try a problem then. Now, I was telling you earlier that you're gonna need some different colored pens or, 2 pens or something, because color flow in this problem really helps a lot in the beginning. Okay, so we're gonna multiply, and the matrices we're gonna multiply at first is gonna be a 2, 3, let's see here, a negative 1, 4, and we're gonna try to multiply it by a 3, 5, negative 9, 7, and 2, negative 6. So here's my original problem. Okay, now the first step is to decide if you're even allowed to multiply the matrix together. This is a 2 by 2. And I'm trying to multiply it by, remember it's rows and columns, so 2 rows and 3 columns. I'm multiplying it by 2 by 3. Does that work?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. It works. See the 2 by 2s? And what is it going to give me as an answer? A 2 by what? 3. These are easier to do if you figure out what it creates. So it's going to create me I'm making this one really big because this is kind of a lesson. It's going to create a 2 by 3. So we're going to make it huge because we're going to write a bunch in it. We don't always do that though. Now pay really close attention to this next part on how to multiply, all right? Now this is the way we do this. We start with the first row. So here, I'm going to use a certain color. So I'm going to say we're going to start with this row right here. Notice I'm going to put an arrow because direction matters. And we're going to take that row, okay, and we're going to actually multiply it by every column. Okay, so we're going to watch. We're going to take this row and we're going to multiply it by the first column. We're going to call this column 1. The second column, column 2, and the third column, column 3. Now this part might sound silly, but please just watch with me. I'm going to do it like 3 or 4 times. Okay, because the flow of it is kind of weird. Okay, so you're going to slide your finger the direction of the arrow. Okay, so here we go. Look, notice this arrow is going this direction. You got it? And these arrows are going down. And it's kind of like a slide rule where I'm going to slide both fingers at the same time. So watch. Okay, I'm going to start at the top. The 2 matches the 3, right? What is 2 times 3? 6. And as I go left, where am I going to go with my right hand? I'm going to go down. Do y'all see that? So I'm going to start again and show you. I'm going to get 6 and negative 5. Right? I'll show you again. 6 and what? Negative 5. Okay? Then you start all over again, the second row. In other words, you're gonna apply this to all three. So now I start all over. I'm gonna take the 2 and the -9, I'm gonna slide to the -7. -1 times 7 is -7. Right, so start again, ready? 2 and -9 is -18. -1 and 7 is -7, right? Okay, so now again, we've done these columns. We apply this row to all three. So we still have to do the last one. So 2 and 2 make 4, and -1 and -6 make 6. Right, so you slide down, 2 and 2, and here. Do y'all see it? Okay, I'm gonna do all again from the beginning. Watch. Okay, I'm gonna start with at my ones, ready? I'm gonna go 2 and 3, 6 and -5, right? Okay, the next one, -18 and -7. Last one, 4 and 6. Y'all don't see it yet? You need one more time? Okay, another time. Okay, again, I take this row and I multiply by all three columns. Okay, I'm gonna take this row and multiply by 1, 2, and 3. Right? And you slide your finger down to know which way to go. So 2 and 3 make 6. I'm going this way and down at the same time, -1 and 5. I'm done. So go to the next one. 2 and -9, -1 and 7. Are y'all seeing it? I need a few activations or no. Okay, the last one, 4 and 6. Okay, right? Okay, so understanding that, then you go, the problem with that is that you go now to the next row. Okay, so I'm gonna use another color. It's gonna be a little harder to see, but my color is pink, but it's kind of hard to tell. I'm gonna use the pink. And I'm gonna do this row by each column, so I'm gonna label this in pink. 1, 2, 3. It's hard to tell it's pink, but 1, 2, 3. You do the exact same thing. I take row, oops, I should have labeled this 2. I take row 2 and I multiply by all three columns. Same exact motion. So I'm gonna have 9 and 20. And I go to the next column, -27 and 28. And I go to the next column, 6 and -24. Okay, I know it seems redundant, but I'm gonna show you one more time, okay? Ready? This row by all three columns. Okay, oopsie, I just messed up. Start at the top. 9 and 20. -27 and 28. And 6 and -24. Okay, you got the pattern? Okay, now, here's the deal. When you write your answers, I'm gonna say this over and over and over. When you get ready to write your answers, you write your answers across. How do you write your answers? 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 Okay, because you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna try to write them down and it's gonna mess you up. Okay, write your answers across, write your answers across, write your answers across. Okay, you write your answers the same way that you start over here. If you don't, they won't fit, and then you get really confused. Write your answers across. Okay, ready? Here we go. I'm gonna show you how to write them. I'm gonna use that yellow pen. Okay, so here's the deal. 6 and -5 make 2 answers. But I only have one spot. I got 1 spot, 2 spots, and 3 spots, right? Because I write my answers across. Okay, you see what I mean? So somehow I've got to get the 6 and the -5 in one spot. You add them. Okay? All right, so remember the motion we made. So you take your 6 and you take your -5. What's 6 plus -5? 1. Okay? And you're gonna write your 1 in that spot. Okay? And because it's notes, guys, I'm gonna write where I got that, just to help you later if you forgot. It's 2 times 3 plus -1 times 5. Okay? Just in case, right? Because they are notes. Now let's go to the next column. Watch. -18 and -7, but I only have one spot to put a number in. So what do I do with the -18 and the -7? I add them. And you get negative what? 20, -25. Okay, let me go again. I've done the first two columns. Which way do we write our answers? Across. So we're going to start all over. I still haven't finished. So I'm at 4 and 6. What's 4 plus 6? 10. Because I'm only allowed to put one answer in that spot. So there's your 10. I'm going to write where I got that, just like I said, because it's notes. Remember, I did 2 times 2 plus -1 times -6. That's where it came from. 2 times 2 plus -1 times -6. That will help you if you get confused later. Okay, now we're gonna fill in our next section, across, right? Okay, so we're gonna go to the next row. And it's gonna give us 3 answers, right? Because we've got 3 columns. So let's find our first answer. 9 and 20 make 29. I'm gonna write where I got that just because it's notes. Okay, now I'm gonna go to the next column. -27 and +28. What's that gonna give us? -27 and +28 is gonna give us
-1.
no +1. The next one. 6 and -24 gives you -18. Again, I'm gonna write where I got that answer. Okay, I did 3 times 2 plus 4 times -6. Okay, did we end up with remember, look at we needed a 2 by 3. Is that what we have? 2 by 3. There's your answer. I know it took forever to do the first one, but I was just trying to drill it in your brain, okay, on how. So let's go to the next problem. Here we go, write it down. Okay. One, 3, 0, 2, -1, 4. We're going to try to multiply that by a 1, -1, 0, 1, 0, 1, and -1, 0. Guys, when you do these by hand like this, there usually will be a lot of zeros because it makes life a lot better. You got it filled in? And again, you can use your colors if you want. Okay, first let's check and see if we're even allowed to do it. This is a 3 by 2 matrix, and this is a 2 by what? 2 by 4. Am I allowed to multiply them? Yes. What is it going to create? I am allowed because of the 2 by 2, and it will give me a what? A 3 by 4. So let's create a 3 by 4. Okay, and let's fill it in. Right, remember again, I think the colors kind of help, especially in the beginning when you're learning. This would be row 1, and we have to take row 1 with each column. Column 1, column 2, and so forth. Correct? Okay, so, and how do we write our answers? Across. With such gusto. I'm so impressed. Okay, ready? Here we go. A 1 times 1 is 1, and a 2 times -2 is -2. So what's 1 plus -2? -1. If it helps you guys, especially in the beginning, we know this is a 3 by 4. It might help you to put 4 spots there. Some kids in the beginning, this helps. Right? So you know what needs to be there. That's up to you. Okay? Once you get better at it, you don't need those. See what I did? I know it's a 3 by 4, so there's my 3, 4. Okay, so now let's go to the second column. 1 times 0, 0 and 2. 0 plus 2 is 2. We write our answers which way? Across. See what I mean? It can get confusing. Go to the third spot. 0 and 2 make 2. Excellent. And our last column, -1 and 0 make -1. Okay, you can use another color if you want to, and go to the second row. And you can label this 1, 2, 3, 4 with a different color if you want. Remember, we write our answers across. So I want a 3 and a 1, which makes 4. Start at the second column. 0 and -1 make, 0 plus -1 is -1. Okay, third, 0 plus -1 is -1 again. Fourth column, -3 plus 0 is -3. Now I'll give you a second to try the last column. I'm sorry, the last row. I said that wrong. Try to fill in the last row. Okay, so we're gonna use a different color again, right, and write down our answers. It would be 0 plus -4, so you get -4. Now go to the second column, 0 plus 4 is 4. The third column, 0 plus 4 again is 4. And then 0 plus 0 is 0. See how all the zeros really do help? Makes the math a little easier. All right, let's try another one. This time we're gonna multiply something a little smaller. A 4 by -2, and a 3, 0, -1, 5. Okay, check the dimensions on both and see if you're allowed to do it. Check the dimensions on both and see if it's allowed. You have to do that every time first. On your homework tonight, some will be not possible. That's why you gotta check each one. Okay, this is a 2 by 1, and this is a 1 by 4. Is it allowed? Yes, it is allowed. And what is it gonna create us? A 2 by 4. Not like the building material, right? Okay, you can fill in the spots if you want. You don't have to. You'll get better and better where you don't even need it. But in the beginning, I think it's a good crutch. Okay, again, this is what's tricky. Remember, you have to do rows first. So this row by each column. Now that's weird. There's only one number in the columns. So is there any addition needed? No, it's just the answer. So this is gonna give me 4 times 3 only. That's all that's there. So what goes in this spot? 12. Now then 4 times the next column, 0. Remember, you write your answers across. 4 times -3 is, 4 times -1, -4, and 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, if you want to go to the next one, you can. You go this way. Right? But you go the same direction with the columns. So 3 and -2 make -6. -2 and 0 make 0. -2 and -1 make 2. And -2 and 5 make -10. Okay, we have one more, just kind of see how you're doing, okay? And the reason is because of the way it's labeled. So the directions actually are gonna say find d squared. That's what the directions are gonna actually say. And they're just gonna give you this. That's all they're gonna give you. Find d squared, and they're gonna give you that little piece of information. So what do I need to do? If I'm actually asking for d squared, what does that mean? D times d, excellent. Okay, that's the same thing as d times d. So we're gonna write it out again. Okay, and the step you're gonna accidentally forget sometimes is to check and see if you're even allowed to do it. Don't forget that, because that'll help you build your answer matrix so you can fill it in, okay? This is a 3 by 3, and I'm trying to multiply it by a 3 by 3. So am I safe? Yes. Okay, and what matrix is it gonna create for me? These match is gonna create a 3 by 3 answer. So let's build our answers section. And by now, I don't know if you still need them, but here they are if you need them. And you're gonna go this way first. I think you're probably pretty good at it, but you're gonna have to add a bunch of numbers now. So the mental math is gonna get a workout, right? So 1 and 1 make 1. So in my head I've got 1. This is 0 and 0. So how much do I have left? And you add those together. When you add 1, 0, and 0, what do you get? 1. And we write our answers across. Let's go to the next column. 0 plus 0 plus 2. Which is 2. Write your answers across. Go to the next column again, the last column, the third column. 2, 0, and negative 4. Need it again. 2, 0, and negative 4. What's it going to give you? Negative 2. Okay, then you go to the next row. I'll give you a second to fill it in. See how you're doing. Okay, if you got it, go to the next one, but I'll give you the answers to check and see. It was negative 4, 9, and negative 2. Okay, if you got it, move to the next one. If not, I'll show you again. I'll walk you through it. Negative 1 plus negative 3 plus 0, which is negative 4. Go to the next column. 0, 9, and 0 is 9. Last column, negative 2 plus 0 is negative 2. Okay, the last column then, right, you go this way. You should have got negative 1, 1, and 4. Is everybody okay with that? All right, so I think we've done enough like this. We're gonna move to one last problem, and it's actually a word problem. So give me 1 second and we'll do that. Okay, so a skateboard kit, this is our last problem we're gonna do. It's more of a word problem. In reality, this is how you would use matrix really, right? A business would use them all the time, right? In Excel, all the spreadsheets and Word documents that they use that have all those cells, and that's where they're used, okay? So this is what happens, okay? You got these stores, and they put their data in different ways. So the first part talks about just the actual stores itself. So maybe this is a guy that owns 2 different stores, okay? They kind of run things a little different, let's say, right? So let's say at his one store, he sells 2 different kinds of skateboard packages. It's called a complete package, okay, which these are how many that they have in inventory, 14, and super complete is 10, okay? And then at his second store, I guess maybe for some reason the way that it works, it's opposite. There's 7 complete and 8 super complete, okay? Because you guys know that different stores sell different things if they're in different spots, right? That's in reality. If you've got a McDonald's that's next to like Gold's Gym, right? They're probably gonna sell more yogurt than Big Macs, right? But if you have the McDonald's that's farther away, like, you know, it depends. It really does matter, okay? So this is the information on the first store, 1 and 2. But down here, it's a different kind of list. So this guy that owns these stores makes different kinds of information sheets. This information sheet is saying, okay, these are my profits. In other words, how much money I'm making on these different kind of kits, either a complete or a super complete. In other words, on a complete set, he makes $89 in revenue. In other words, that's what the people are paying for it. It cost him $44 to make. Okay, so he's making a profit of $45. But on a super complete, he sells them for $119. It cost him $58, and his profit is a lot more, $61. So the question that they're asking is find the total cost of the skateboards for each store, right? That's what they're actually asking us. So the first step, okay, is we're gonna build a matrix. All right, so on this particular part, guys, this is more real life. Think about the fact that maybe, let's read this. A skateboard kit comes in 2 styles. 2 stores have inventories as shown in the first table. So in other words, here's store 1, and we're talking about skateboard kits. So store 1 has 14 complete kits, or sells 14 complete kits, and 10 super complete. Store 2 sells 7 complete and 8 super complete. And it makes sense. Maybe in this case, this is a business owner who has 2 different stores. And guys, we all know that different locations sell different amounts of things, right? If you've got a store right next door to a skateboard park, they're gonna sell a lot more skateboard items than you would if you had a store across town. Okay, they may sell more than whatever's in that area. So basically this owner is kind of trying to analyze his profit and his sales, okay? And in real life, you use spreadsheets for that anyways, right? So that's what this is. So here's one list, the top one, which is talking about, you know, store 1 and what they sell. Then he made another matrix or another set of data, which is down here. And it's talking about skateboard kit profits. Right? And from what it looks like, he even charges different prices at different stores. So a complete set, okay, oh no, they're the same, I'm sorry. A complete set's revenue, in other words, they sell revenue $89. That's how much they charge for it. It costs the store $44, and their profit is $45. Versus the super complete set they sell for $119, it costs the store $58 and they make $61. So they actually make more money on the super complete set. Okay? So what the question is asking is, find the total cost of the skateboards for each store. Okay, that's what's asking. Find how much they're spending on skateboards, period, for each store. So you're gonna actually take the 2 matrices together because you would just multiply, right? Well, I sell 8 of these and they're $100, that's $800, right? I sell 12 of these and they're $500, so that's $6,000. You multiply, right? Well, that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna multiply these 2 matrices together, okay? First, let's check to see if we can. This matrix will create a 2 by 2, right? Pay attention, please. This matrix would be a 2 by 3. Would I be allowed to multiply them? Yes, and it would create a 2 by 3 matrix. Now this is the part that's hard, probably the hardest part we're gonna do today, is setting up this matrix and setting up the answer. Okay, I'm gonna get a 2 by 3. So let's build my 2 by 3. There it is, right? And in order to read my answer matrix, I need to label everything. Well, I have 2 rows and 3 columns. So what do you think that I'm gonna label? If I've got 2, these two can't possibly be revenue, store cost, and profit, can they? Because there's 3 of these. So what are we gonna have to label these? Which one has 2 rows that's gonna work? Store what?
Oh.
Store 1 and store 2. And you can look at it because we're taking the 2 from here, which is the row, right? And the rows, that's from the first one. These are rows. Do you see what I just did? Okay? We're taking the 2 rows. It comes from the first group. So I'm going to use the rows of this group. So this is store 1 and store 2. We have 3 columns. The 3 comes from the second matrix, right? So I'm going to use this for the columns. Revenue, cost, and profit. Now, I'm actually asking for the total cost. Which column do I actually want? Which one? This one, right? You can fill them all in if you want, but I'm actually just asking for this. Now, this is where you would need a calculator because of the math. Right, so if we start, we're gonna go this way. This is 1, and this way. 1, 2, 3. So I'm gonna take 14 times 89 plus 119 times 10. And you get 2436. I know it's a big number. Now go to this one. 14 times 4 and 10 times 58. 1196. And then the profit, okay, would be 14 times 45 plus 61 times 10. 1240. Store 2, 7 times 89 and 8 times 119 is 1575. This would be 772 and 803. Okay, the reason this helps is because I want to know the profit, right? The problem is, okay, store 1 made profit on completes and super completes, didn't they? Store 2 made profit on complete and super completes. That's why we're multiplying and adding, right? That's why it works. Okay, I'm asking for total, okay? So total cost would be right here. Store 1 is $11.96, and store 2 made a total cost of $772. Okay? All right, now you can work on your homework.